They did it. The Indiana Fever actually did it. I am in shock. I'm genuinely in shock. I cannot believe that they managed to do it. The Indiana Fever just won the Commissioner's Cup. I love the fact that DeWanna Bonner's not there as well. That's my other favorite part about this, is that DeWanna Bonner's not there. DeWanna Bonner could have been there. DeWanna Bonner, all she had to do was, show up to work while she was being paid. And now currently she's on no team. The Mercury don't seem to want her because they want Emma Messelman before they want her. She's the backup option for the Mercury. She is the backup option for a few teams. No one's going to sign DeWanna Bonner before Emma Messelman makes a decision. And her team, the Indiana Fever, that she signed for in the summer, because she was like, you know what, it gives me a chance of winning, and it's not fitting to go and win the Commissioner's Cup. And I understand the Commissioner's Cup is not the championship, but I also understand that at this point in the season, the only thing there's been to play for is the Commissioner's Cup.
Caitlin Clark just lit the WNBA on fire again. This time, it wasn't with a buzzer beater or a behind-the-back dime. It was her post-game celebration after the Indiana Fever clinched the Commissioner's Cup that sent social media into a frenzy. Champagne flying, music blaring, teammates screaming. And right in the middle of it all was Clark, owning the spotlight like she was born for this moment. What started as a mid-season tournament ended as a full-blown cultural event with Clark's one-liner, "Everyone in the league is sick," instantly going viral. It wasn't just a celebration, it was a warning shot. A moment that told the rest of the league, we're here and we're not backing down. Fans loved it, critics hated it, but no one could ignore it. This was more than a partyette was a statement, and the ripple effects. They're still shaking the WNBA.
Talk about this right now. I'm going to be looking at this. Caitlin Clark, like some mad stuff, and I'm not going to be playing too much of the noise. Caitlin Clark walking around the team with the Commissioner's Cup trophy, pouring it like drink into or alcohol into other people's mouths, celebrating. Caitlin Clark, and this is the thing, I'm going to make an entire video about this in the morning when I'm more coherent than this. This is just a funny video to talk about it. But Caitlin Clark in the middle of it goes, she just shouts in, "I just know everyone in the league is sick." And then Leah Boston goes, "They're pissed." And she just goes, "Yeah, they're pissed." Like, they are sick. They are sick that the Fever are winning. Like, and if you guys don't know, Red Panda obviously got injured at halftime. Hopefully she's okay. Caitlin Clark, middle of Sydney Colson's live stream, just goes, "If you're watching, we love you." Sydney Colson, I don't think Red Panda's. I mean, you never know. She'll definitely see this clip. That's for sure.
The Commissioner's Cup trophy hadn't even cooled off before Caitlin Clark made headlines for something entirely unexpected. Cameras were rolling, phones were out, and within minutes, the Fever's locker room celebration was spreading like wildfire. But this wasn't your average post-game champagne shower. Clark wasn't just happy, they were defiant. She grabbed that trophy like she'd been carrying the weight of every critic on her shoulders and just dropped them all in one historic moment. Her words, "I just know everyone in the league is sick," and Aaliyah Boston, standing right next to her, backed her up immediately. Yeah, they're pissed. That clip alone exploded across social media, instantly going viral. Not just on WNBA Twitter, everywhere. SportsCenter, Barstool, ESPNW, Bleacher Report, even mainstream news. Outlets couldn't help but jump on it. This wasn't just about trash talk. It was about energy. It was about a young team refusing to downplay its success to keep the peace. The Fever didn't sneak into this win, they took it with swagger. And while some saw arrogance, others saw something that WNBA has been missing. For years, a spark, a reason for people to care. Caitlin Clark has always been a magnet for attention, but this moment proved something else entirely. She knows how to own the spotlight off the court, just as well as she handles it on the hardwood. It felt spontaneous, raw, unfiltered, no media training, no watered-down happy-to-be-here statements, just pure emotion. And let's be honest, this kind of energy is why the WNBA is seeing a ratings surge. Love her or hate her, Caitlin Clark commands the moment. She speaks for a new generation of fans who don't just want competition, They want personality, fire, rivalries, and this celebration gave it to them all at once. The video of her celebration didn't need editing or hype music. The moment was the content. One line, one trophy, and suddenly the narrative of the entire season shifted. And while that moment made headlines, what came next proved just how deep the impact of this win really was, because the party had just begun.
Caitlin Clark is there. Just coming in on live out of nowhere.
Whoa! Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there she is. Where's Kelsey? Kelsey left.
They got drunk very quickly. In fairness, after playing the game, you do. They started in the mid, like Caitlin Clark throws on. I can't play it because of copyright. She throws on freaking Gasolina, and they start talking about Taylor Swift.
In an era where every move is watched and every word dissected, Caitlin Clark didn't hold back, and that's exactly why her post-game quote hit like a lightning bolt. Standing in the middle of a raucous locker room, trophy in hand, surrounded by champagne-soaked teammates, she let it fly. "I just know everyone in the league is sick. No script, no filter. Just raw, uncut truth from the most talked-about rookie in women's basketball." And the best part? She meant every word. That one sentence wasn't just celebration, it was provocation. Clark wasn't talking to fans. She was talking to every player, coach, and critic who had doubted, dismissed, or downright hated on her since she entered the league. It was a message to the veterans who rolled their eyes, the teams who played her extra physical, and the media. Voices who questioned her hype. That quote was payback. And it went viral because it felt earned by the time Aaliyah Boston co-signed the statement. Yeah, they're pissed. The moment had already been clipped, captioned, and shared 100,000 times. Every social feed was buzzing with it. Some called it cocky, some called it classless, but most people just hit replay. In a league that often struggles to break through the noise, this was noise that demanded attention. But here's what made it even more powerful. It wasn't planned. Clark didn't say it for the cameras. She didn't pose, didn't rehearse. It was an outburst, a genuine expression of competitive satisfaction that people couldn't stop watching. And when something feels real, people react. For better or worse, that one-liner flipped the script. The Fever weren't just a fun underdog story anymore. They were the disruptors, the agitators, the team that everyone would be gunning for. And Caitlin, she became something more than just a promising rookie. She became a villain to some, a hero to others, but unforgettable to all. That moment, that war cry, instantly etched itself into WNBA lore. Because when you beat the odds and say exactly what everyone else is too scared to say, you don't just go viral, you shift the culture. And the Fever, they were just getting started. The Indiana Fever's locker room didn't look like the aftermath of a mid-season tournament win. It looked like they had just clinched a national title. Champagne bottles popped, goggles flew off, music blared through the speakers. And in the middle of the madness, Caitlin Clark was living it up. At one point, she was caught pouring drinks into teammates' mouths, dancing with the Commissioner's Cup trophy, and screaming lyrics with her arms in the air like a seasoned champion. And if you thought that was wild, it only got louder. The playlist, chaotic perfection, Gasolina, Taylor Swift, even a few WNBA deep cuts. And when Caitlin tossed on the next track, the whole team lost it. The dancing wasn't choreographed. The joy wasn't forced. It felt like a group of players who had just proven everyone wrong. Now they were celebrating like they didn't care who was watching. Sid Colson's live stream accidentally turned into a viral documentary. 1 second she was rapping, up into views the next. She was being chased down by Clark, Lexi Hull, and Sophie Cunningham. Champagne in hand, it wasn't clean, it wasn't polished. But that's exactly what made it magic. The WNBA has long tried to market itself through discipline, teamwork, and polished professionalism. But here was something different. Spontaneous energy that fans couldn't get enough of. Clark's presence didn't just elevate the Fever's gameplay, it injected a kind of cultural energy the league hadn't seen in years. This was joy with an edge. The league's official social media pages didn't hesitate. Clips from the locker room were posted almost instantly. The internet couldn't scroll fast enough. Fans, influencers, and even some NBA stars reposted the highlights. And the common theme? This didn't feel like a WNBA moment. It felt like a sports moment. A real one that transcended leagues and gender lines. But while the Fever were high off victory and champagne bubbles, one thing was crystal clear. This team wasn't just celebrating, they were claiming space. The party wasn't about the trophy, it was about telling the world that this young squad wasn't here for moral victories. They came to win. And anyone who still thought the Commissioner's Cup didn't matter. One look at that locker room told a very different story. As the Indiana Fever exploded with joy, one name kept echoing, not because she was part of the celebration, but because she was missing from it. DeWanna Bonner, a veteran presence, and someone who, just months earlier, was in the Fever locker room with a shot to be part of this exact moment. But on the biggest night of the Fever season, Bonner was nowhere to be seen. Not on the bench, not on social media. Her silence was deafening. Bonner's decision to leave Indiana mid-season now looks like more than just a career move. It looks like a missed opportunity. At the time, the narrative was murky. Reports swirled about disagreements, fit issues, and possible trade frustrations. But she walked away from a team that was still figuring itself out. She gambled and she lost. And now, they're celebrating a Commissioner's Cup title while Bonner remains, unsigned and watching from the outside. To make matters worse, her name was being actively skipped over in free agency discussions. Teams like the Phoenix Mercury prioritized other players. Rumors emerged that Bonner was a backup option at best. Even fans began to wonder, had the league moved on? For someone with her resume, that silence was almost louder than the locker room party itself. Meanwhile, the Indiana Fever thrived without her. Young stars like Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston stepped up. Veterans like Kelsey Mitchell embraced the spotlight. The chemistry was undeniable, and without any veteran ego in the way. They found their rhythm and their joy. The viral clips of Clark dancing and screaming might not have been directed at Bonner, but they didn't have to be. The message was clear: we didn't need you to win. And that's got to sting. In a league where windows of opportunity are short, Bonner's time might be slipping. She had a front row seat to what this team could become. She walked out before the lights turned on. The irony. It said more than any quote ever could. To some fans, the Commissioner's Cup is just another mid-season event, a cash grab with a shiny trophy. But for the Indiana Fever, this win meant everything. It wasn't just about prize money or bragging rights. It was validation. Proof that all the noise, pressure, and spotlight that followed them into every game wasn't for nothing. For a franchise that's been stuck at the bottom for years, this wasn't just a title. It was a turning point. Coming into the season, the Fever were labeled a work in progress. Analysts saw promise in Clark and Boston, but nobody expected fireworks this soon. Yet from day one, the Fever treated every regular season game like a playoff battle. While other teams coasted, Indiana played with urgency. And when the Commissioner's Cup rolled around, they didn't just want to compete, they needed to win. This was their chance to show the league and themselves that the rebuild was over. That's what made their locker room celebration so unfiltered. The joy wasn't just about beating the Lynx, it was about becoming something real. The Fever out-hustled, outworked, and out-celebrated a league that didn't see them coming. It didn't matter that the game itself was messy or that the offense struggled at times. What mattered was that they wanted it more, and that hunger, that fire, showed on every single player's face when the final buzzer sounded. Even Caitlin Clark admitted the game was ugly. She didn't sugarcoat it, but what she highlighted was the team's resilience, how they grinded it out when things weren't going perfectly. That grit, more than any stat line, is what separates this Fever squad from last year's. They've figured out how to win dirty, how to win tired, and how to win when the moment is bigger than the game itself. So yeah, to outsiders, this might look like just a side trophy. But to Indiana, this was their Super Bowl, and that matters. Because when a young team learns how to win together, especially on a stage like this, it becomes contagious. The culture shifts, the mindset changes, and the rest of the league starts to feel that pressure. What's clear now is this: the Fever believe they can win. And that belief, it's the most dangerous thing they've carried all season. Caitlin Clark didn't just bring a jump shot to the WNBA, she brought a tidal wave. And after the Commissioner's Cup win, It's clearer than ever that her presence is reshaping how the league operates, both on and off the court. From the moment she entered the league, Clark was under a microscope. Every move analyzed, every foul magnified, every handshake scrutinized. Some veterans bristled, some fans complained, but now, even the doubters are realizing this is what change looks like. Clark's competitive fire has forced the Fever to play every game like it matters. No more coasting, no more mailing it in during the regular season. When she steps on the court, the target is on her backhand, the entire team feels it. As a result, Indiana isn't just playing for wins, they're playing for respect. They've adopted Clark's edge, her urgency, her refusal to be intimidated, and it's bleeding into every player's mentality. Compare that to some of the league's veterans, who've openly said they don't care about the Commissioner's Cup and only want the bonus check. That attitude, it's being exposed. Because the Fever just showed the league what it looks like when a team cares. And the reaction to Clark's post-game moment, the viral quote, the party, the goggles, the live streams proves one thing. Fans are hungry for more than polite competition. They want drama, they want emotion, they want a league that feels alive. Clark's celebration wasn't just a flex, it was a challenge to the status quo, a signal that this new wave of WNBA stars isn't here to wait their turn. They're here to take it, and the Fever built around that mentality are becoming the league's new disruptors. Like it or not, the WNBA is entering a new era, louder, younger, and unapologetically bold. And while some may roll their eyes at the attention she brings, the numbers don't lie. Viewership is up, social engagement is through the roof, and games featuring Caitlin Clark consistently dominate headlines. That's not a coincidence. That's a cultural shift in real time. So when the Fever lifted that trophy, it wasn't just a celebration, it was a declaration. The league is changing, and Caitlin Clark is leading the charge, while the Indiana Fever were basking in champagne showers and viral glory. DeWanna Bonner was nowhere in sight, and that absence is starting to speak volumes. At one point, Bonner was seen as the experienced anchor for this young Fever squad. She had rings, leadership, and the kind of locker room presence teams are supposed to lean on during big moments. But somewhere along the way, the partnership fractured. And now, the team she left behind is celebrating the biggest win of their season without her. Bonner's decision to part ways with Indiana mid-season might have made sense on paper. Maybe she saw a better fit elsewhere. Maybe she thought the team wouldn't gel. Maybe she didn't believe the hype. But as the Commissioner's Cup confetti fell, it became painfully clear. She bet against the Fever, and they proved her wrong. Irony cuts deep. Bonner didn't just miss out on a trophy, she missed out on being part of a cultural shift, a rookie-led uprising, a team turning the league on its head. And worse, she now finds herself in limbo. No team has picked her up. The Phoenix Mercury, once seen as a potential landing spot, chose to pursue other options. Even media outlets that once praised her legacy are quiet. She's not trending, she's not rumored, she's just gone. And while no one on the Fever has thrown shade directly, the silence is deafening. No shoutouts, no "we miss you" moments. The team has moved on, and they've done it fast. Clark, Boston, and Mitchell have filled the leadership vacuum, not just surviving without Bonner, but thriving. The chemistry is better, the energy is lighter. The results speak for themselves. For Bonner, it's a cautionary tale. In the WNBA, where opportunities are limited and legacies are fragile, walking away from the wrong team at the wrong time can be a career-altering move. And now, as clips of Clark's celebration dominate headlines, Bonner's absence feels even heavier. She could have been in that locker room, pouring champagne, yelling into the camera, and soaking up the spotlight. Instead, she's watching from the outside as the team she left behind becomes the story of the season. That's not just a missed moment, it's a missed era. The Fever's celebration wasn't just lauded, it was symbolic. For the first time in years, Indiana looked like more than just a rebuilding team. They looked like a movement. A team that had finally figured out its identity, found its rhythm, and owned the spotlight with no apologies. And at the heart of it all was Caitlin Clark, leading the charge with confidence, chaos, and just the right amount of attitude. It was messy, it was joyful, and it was real. That's why it stuck. This moment marked the start of something bigger than a trophy. It marked the beginning of a new WNBA Narrative 1, where young stars aren't told to wait their turn, and underdog teams can rewrite the script in real time. The Fever didn't win because they were the most polished. They won because they wanted it more. And they showed that in every clip, every quote, and every viral second of that celebration. The goggles, the champagne, the wild sideline chases, Clark yelling, Boston laughing, Sid Colson live streaming the chaos like it was the Oscars. These weren't just fun details, they were culture-shaping moments. The kind fans remember, the kind that turn casual viewers into loyal supporters. And the kind that other teams now have to match, not just in performance, but in passion. That's what made this celebration so powerful. It was more than just a team blowing off steam. It was a line in the sand, a message to the rest of the league. We're done being quiet. The Fever aren't just coming, they've arrived, and they're not trying to blend in. They're trying to take over. Meanwhile, players like Didnt Bonner are left on the outside. Watching a team they once helped build, embrace a future without them. There was no seat saved at the table. No flashback montage, no tribute, just forward motion. That's how fast the league moves. Now, and that's what happens when a celebration becomes a signal of something larger. This wasn't just a post-game party. It was a torch-passing moment. The Commissioner's Cup celebration didn't close a chapter. It opened a new one, and the Fever are writing it loud, unfiltered, and in real time. The Indiana Fever's Commissioner's Cup win was more than a game. It was a defining moment for the franchise, the league, and Caitlin Clark's rising legacy. What should have been a routine mid-season celebration turned into a cultural flashpoint, reshaping how the WNBA is viewed and who its new power players are. From viral quotes to champagne-soaked live streams, this team didn't just celebrate, they announced themselves. They showed the world that joy, competitiveness, and unapologetic energy can coexist and that fans crave every second of it. For Caitlin Clark, it wasn't just about lifting a trophy. It was about owning the moment and leading a team with confidence that bordered on fearless. For Didnt Bonner, it was a haunting reminder that walking away from the right team at the wrong time can cost you everything. The Fever didn't ask for permission, they seized the spotlight, and they're not giving it back anytime soon. What happens next will define the rest of the season. But one thing's already clear, the Indiana Fever aren't just part of the WNBA conversation anymore. They are the conversation. And their celebration was just the beginning.